people like to write their own stories. Previously, there were, let's say, other people writing our story.
Hmm.
But in recent times, we wanted to tell our own story, whether we tell it chronologically or in bits of
Okay.
flashbacks. Right. Welcome to Oral Tradition and another adventure in Guyanese literature. And let's welcome a man who wears numerous hats, Mr. Ashok Ramsaran. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Now, if you were to, not if you, I know one day you will record your story.
I look forward to that too.
Yeah, yeah. And they say there's a story in every one of us,
Sure.
a book or two. And obviously, you can fill many books. But in this program, if you were to write about yourself, what are some of the takeaways? What are some of the big moments that you'll have? And then we'll look back at the small beginnings.
Okay. It's a very wide encompassing question that starts from early age to now, and what happen in between. So how can you encapsulate so much in a short period of time? I'll try to do my best to summarize that. Having been born in Guyana of Indian parents and educated here up to high school, I sought more education, and at that time it was not available to me because of money, and the programs at UG was just what they call a bottom house school. So I ventured overseas and I became an engineer. Got married. Throughout that, it's a journey that from a village to the most prominent city in the world, New York City, and thriving in a different environment because of the background I had and the motivation and the energy to achieve, because that's what drove my great grandparents as well, the energy and the drive and the promise and the dream. And throughout that journey, I've had ups and downs like everyone else, but I tried to make the best of it.
Mhm.
And then looking back, I want to record our life, our lives, and our journeys, not necessarily mine. Mine will come later, as you said, in one or two volumes.
Yeah.
But for the moment, when I could not find the ancestral village of my great grandparents, because the lost records here or missing, I sat on the docks of the Demerara Depot in Calcutta, and I dreamt of something that would reflect all of their departures from India. And I appealed to the government of India, and they listened to my story and agreed to put up a memorial.
What exactly did you, how did you approach them? What did you, I mean, this is a huge project.
Yes.
The Calcutta
Memorial.
Memorial, it's a huge project.
Absolutely.
For a government like India
Yes.
to listen to
So at that time, there was a Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs.
MEA, yeah.
MOIA. And the minister entrusted me with a lot of things because I was a person of Indian origin, unlike people from India. And he noticed I did not want anything for myself, unlike most other Indians.
Ah.
And I became close. He valued my opinions, and so we met in New York one day over breakfast, and I said, Minister, I want to ask you something. I have a request. Because there are so many people who left India from 1834 to 1917, and there's no record, no marker for their departure. How does India remember that? We remember because we experience it, we live it. But how does India remember that? And he said, what do you think? I said, we should put something where they departed that recognizes that they're the grandchildren, the great grandchildren of India that went overseas.
How was this site chosen? Was it?
Because I had gone there and I sat on the docks of Demerara Depot. And I emotionally said, if I cannot find it
Yeah.
for myself, then I should do something for everyone. So it's a totality of recognition, not individual. Minister said, well, why should I do it? Why should we do it?
That's what I, yeah, go on.
I said, Minister,
You have to convince him, yeah, justify it.
Minister, it's the right thing to do. And he took his glasses off and he looked at me and said, that's bold. I said, yes, but what you are going to do for this project is bold as well. And you will go down in history as having done it.
Wow.
He said, okay, can you write up something and give it to me? I'm leaving tonight. That same night, I came back home, wrote a one page. He said, do it in one page only. I did it in one page, sent it to him. Next week, he made a telephone call to me. He said, Ramsaranji, can you come to New Delhi? I said, okay, give me some idea what we're going to be doing when I come there. He said, we are going to go to see the Prime Minister of what you propose. So I arrived there, we went to see the Prime Minister. He looked at Prime Minister Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan.
And he looked at it, looked it over. He said, Ramsaranji, this is something significant. I commend you for it. And I will approve it to proceed. He put on the paper, and the wrapped up right, and approved. He signed his name. He gave it to us. We spent less than 5 minutes in his office. Came back out. The minister said, you are going to Calcutta to find the place to put this thing. I'm going to send 2 senior officers with you. We got on an airplane the next morning. Arriving in Calcutta, the chief minister and an entourage of people took us, they gave us an Indian launch with 22 sailors, a cartographer, historian, map makers, and all the people there.
Wow.
And we traveled up and down the Hooghly River to locate.
What is the Hooghly River for people who may not know?
Hooghly River is a branch of the river that travels from UP and Bihar into the port of Calcutta, where most of the people, 95%
Departed
of people, from those ancestral villages into depots, barracks, to holding places before they get on ship. So each major country, like Guyana, at that time was known as Demerara, it had its own depot. It has barracks where the laborers would come and they would hold them for 2 weeks and test them out in case of any diseases or so. A surgeon's office was there, and they would document everything, and then when they reach a number that the ship can accommodate, they put them on and assign them to somewhere in Demerara or multiple places in Demerara. So we went up and down the Hooghly River, and then I saw this thing, and I said, what is that? It was a clock tower. They said, that's a Demerara depot. I said, that's where we're going. So we pulled up there, and no one has crossed that thing since 1917. It was a rickety little bridge. The banyan tree wrapped around its trunk, around the barrack entrance. And there were squatters there, like every place in India. But we went there cautiously, selected the place, and I said, this is the place we're going to put the memorial.
Wow.
Came back to New Delhi,
Yeah.
had a meeting, place was selected. The minister said, well, you can go now, we are going to take it from here. I said, I'd like to be part of the design. and I'd like to be part of the inscription.
You're getting bolder and bolder, sir.
Somehow,
You got an inch and you took.
I had this energy that it was overwhelming.
Yes. Oh.
And he said, no, we have smart people here. I said, yes, you do have smart people, but we have the emotional attachment that will reflect exactly what this thing should do.
You found the right words.
So he said, okay, we will share the mechanical design, and you give us the inscription. I came back that night on a midnight flight with a bottle of wine sitting in business class, and I wrote an inscription. To this day, is etched in the memorial at Calcutta.
I am wondering okay, the inscription should be coming up anytime.
That's the one in Monument Garden.
This is the one in Monument Garden.
This is the one in
Calcutta?
Calcutta, yes.
Okay.
And it says, from these shores.
Yeah.
And it was sobering, emotional reflection of my feelings, but a reflection of feelings for everyone. 9 months later, no, 6 months later, on January 11, 2011, it was unveiled, with huge crowds from all the countries, including Mauritius, Fiji, South Africa, the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It was a massive thing.
I saw a photograph of some of your colleagues that were there.
And Ambassador Gajraj was there,
Yeah.
representing Guyana. So it was a euphoric moment, but it was a moment where we all felt, and to this day we still feel, that India recognizes the departure of those people from 1834 to 1917.
Well, thanks to you. And then you didn't leave it at in Calcutta. You brought it down to Highbury and to Demerara.
Well, right after that, Dr. Yeshu Prasad, who is a very close friend and a mentor, called me up. He says, my friend, you cannot leave us out of this. I said, what do you mean? He said, we have to do something on the 175th anniversary in an arrival here. So I worked with him. I said, what do you want? He said, a replica of Calcutta Memorial at Highbury and at Monument Garden. So we collaborated again with the Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs. I appealed to the same minister. I said, we have to repeat Calcutta somewhere else. He says, okay.
The journey continues.
The journey continues. The journey continues.
Yeah.
So exactly. So the ambassador here at the time, Indian ambassador, and I, and Yeshu Prasad, and Pradeep Samtani, late Pradeep
Yes.
Samtani, we worked out. And Pradeep added something and said, why don't we have a stage, performing stage? Because the one they had there was dilapidated. I said, okay, let's put it down on the paper. We put it down, they approved it. They approved the money for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
43,000 US dollars. And we got it done. I came and I was an entourage of us, including Minister Frank Anthony. We went to Highbury, unveiled it, and took the bridge, crossed the river back, and we came to Permanent Monument Gardens. And at 6 o'clock we did this similar thing here. So, to cut the story down to the journey continued from Calcutta to
Highbury.
Highbury. But I also did similar things in Trinidad. An Indian arrival monument by the temple by the sea, and one in Martinique, which is French, by the way.
Yeah.
They call on me because of the examples here. And I gave them the template and worked with them, and they have a monument similar to that. South Africa wants to do the same thing. Grenada wants to do the same thing, and the Reunion Island. So my job, I think I've been called.
Your job,
my calling.
your journey.
my journey is everybody's journey, or everybody's journey is my journey.
I like how this is turning out.